A little bit of a better video. There's one. There's another. There's another. There's another. And coming back this way, there's about two in the trees over here, which we can't really see. But this is wild on how many drones there are. Oh, that might be another one over there.
You know, they keep saying that these mysterious drones over New Jersey do not pose a threat. They keep saying they do not pose a threat. They do not pose a threat. But as I've laid out to you all before, if they're telling the truth and they legitimately do not know where what these things are or where they're coming from, then they cannot legitimately say that these things do not pose a threat. Because if you don't know what they are, and if you don't know what they're coming or where they're coming from, then you do not know what their purpose is. You do not truly know if they pose an immediate threat or some type of threat in the future. But the more I watch this play out, and the longer this stretches out, I really do think that these things pose a threat for sure. Now, they might not pose an immediate physical threat, but I think the threat is more psychological, if you will. I mean, let's get totally real here, ladies and gentlemen. These drones, and I keep pointing this out, they're not trying to hide. They're glowing, they're blinking, they're not flying super high altitude. They're very visible. I believe that they want to be very visible, which is why every single night they're coming back, putting on a spectacle, flying over New Jersey, and now they're starting to branch out. Now, if this was the U.S. military wanting to test top secret equipment, they could do so anywhere else in the world. They don't have to do so over New Jersey. And if anything, maybe don't put blinking, glowing lights on these things if you don't want people seeing it and if you don't want people getting freaked out. So whatever these things are, they want to be seen. Whoever is flying these things, they do not want to hide. They do not want these things hidden. They want people to see them. You can bet your sweet ass that, ladies and gentlemen. They want these things to be seen. And like I said, it's all psychological. They're messing with people's minds in a way. Now, you would have to ask yourself, what's the agenda? What's the motive? Why are they doing this? Now, I could think of several reasons why the U.S. government would do this. As I've pointed out in past videos, maybe this is them trying to desensitize us for things that we're going to be seeing flying in the sky in the near future. But my number one theory about what these things are, I believe this is one of the U.S.'s enemies. China, Russia, someone like that. I believe it's them sending us a message, sending a physical and psychological message that, hey, you can be touched. Hey, the people of New Jersey, it looks like you aren't as secure as you think. Maybe your military isn't advanced as you think because look, we're right here operating in the airspace over your heads. It's just like the Chinese spy balloon that we shot down a while back. I believe a lot of that was about sending a message as well. Although I do believe that the Chinese spy balloon was a little more secretive than these glowing, blinking drones flying in the sky overnight every day. But I do believe that this is psychological. It's about sending a message. It's kind of like an own, if you will. This is really them. I can't even say what I really want to say on YouTube, but this is basically our enemies, in my opinion, dropping their nuts on us right now. Like, hey, look, you keep tampering around in Ukraine, you keep tampering around in Syria and with Iran, and you're messing with China, you're trying to take on BRICS, you're doing all of this stuff. Well, guess what? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We could fly these drones over any town in America. We can infiltrate your airspace. We can penetrate your defenses. Your air systems, your systems can't even detect some of these drones. I really think That's what's going on here. I think it's psychological. And the reason I say that is because there's not even the slightest bit of attempt at being stealthy here. They want to be seen. Why they want to be seen, I don't know. But obviously, it's to have some sort of effect on people mentally. And when it comes to war, if you look throughout the history of warfare, a lot of warfare was psychological. A lot of battles were won not because of the fighting on the ground, but because of the morale of the troops, because of the mentality of the soldiers on the ground. And what could just really just squash your morale? If you're a U.S. soldier at one of these bases looking in the sky as unknown, possibly enemy drones are floating over your military base as you can do nothing, do you think that boosts these soldiers' morale? Or do you think it makes them feel more helpless? Do you think it has some type of psychological effect on them? They're supposed to be here defending our country, yet here they are defenseless against these random clunky drones that are flying over New Jersey. So you have to look at things from all angles. But I want to go ahead and roll this news clip really quickly, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Everyone wants to hear about these drones. The nation is under siege at the moment, and that's going to be the question on everyone's lips.
And Nick, let's take a look at some of this video that we're playing on your screen. This is recent footage of UAPs flying over New Jersey. Officials asking for the public's help in identifying what in the world these objects are. This was taken at night. You can see that bright triangular light. What do you think when you look at this video, and what are you hearing from your sources?
Well, there is a whole mix of different things going on here. There are basically 4 things happening at once. Some of this is probably hobbyist drones. But disturbingly, and this, again, the committee is going to want a briefing on this today, some of this might be adversary drones, China or Russia conducting espionage on military establishments and critical national infrastructure. And by the way, this is happening in the United Kingdom as well as the United States. Some of this may be genuine UAP activity, and we just don't know what that is yet. And some is, frankly, mass hysteria. This is such level of intensity now that any strange light in the sky is becoming a UAP in some people's minds. So we need to untangle the fact from the fiction, sort out which of these things are real and which are just misidentifications.
Yeah, and hopefully lawmakers learn something new today. I wanted to play a bit of sound for you, Nick, because the mayor, in one of these New Jersey towns just released a statement updating folks on what authorities know about the situation. Take a listen.
County and local law enforcement agencies are aware of the recurring reports of drone activity around Morris and Somerset counties and acknowledge the public's concern about these repeated sightings. The subject county prosecutors, sheriffs, and emergency management offices, our respective municipal police departments, working in close cooperation with the FBI Newark, New Jersey State Police, and the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and preparedness partners, seek to reassure the public that we will continue to monitor and investigate the drone activity.
I mean, Nick, he just listed off a laundry list of agencies involved. So is it weird to you, or is it concerning that no one appears to know what these objects are?
It's a huge concern, yes, and clearly this shows the defense and national security angle here. And as you say, it's like a laundry list of agencies. We've got police chiefs, mayors, governors, Homeland Security, and the FBI involved in this, and of course, Department of Defense. We need answers, and we need them now. Hopefully, Congress will push for that today in this classified
Now,
briefing.
as I've said before, my number one theory is that this is one of our enemies spying on us, testing our readiness, testing our airspace, seeing just what they could get away with and things of that nature. Could I be wrong? Yes, I could definitely be wrong. I'm not right about everything. I'm always open to being wrong. I'm just like one of you all, putting my theories out here, brainstorming, trying to figure out what these things are. But I feel like a lot of people find comfort in the theory that this is just the U.S. government testing some sort of equipment. A lot of people feel more comfortable about that as opposed to this being, a foreign government or one of our enemies, a foreign military spying or what have you. But in my opinion, I find it more comforting that this would be one of our enemies. And I know that sounds weird, but let me explain. If this is our enemies spying on us, flying drones over our military bases and critical infrastructure and stuff like that, at the very least, you know what they're here for, right? You know that they're here to spy on military bases, to take photos of, where certain things are placed. We get it. So if this is one of our enemies, we know why they're here. We know what they're doing. They're spying on us, collecting information, what have you. Yes, that is scary. No, we should not allow that to happen. But at least with that explanation, we kind of have a grasp at what's going on here. On the other hand, if this is the U.S. military testing out some type of new equipment or something like that, then you really got to ask why. Why are you testing this equipment? What is this equipment for? And out of every single place on Earth, because America and the U.S. Army, Air Force, what have you, we basically have access to every corner of the world. Why are you testing out these things over New Jersey unless you have some sort of plan for possibly using these things in the sky over America? Over our citizens' heads. You know what I mean? Because I pointed it out time and time again. If they had some top secret equipment they wanted to test, they could test it somewhere else top secret. They could go out there in freaking Nevada somewhere. They could go out in the desert somewhere, but they're not. They're over residential areas for a reason, right? So if this is the U.S. government, you really should be even more worried because we don't know what their motive is. If this is our enemies, we already know what their motive is. We know what their reasoning is. If this is the American government, we don't know for sure. Are you testing this out to use against our enemies? I would hope so. But if you're testing this out to use against our enemies and you don't want information about these things getting out there, you could have done a better job at that. So while you're flying and testing these things out over residential areas in America, it makes you wonder if this is some type of new U.S. equipment or something like that. Where do you plan on using these things? Do you plan on flying these over Moscow? Do you plan on flying these over Ukraine, Syria, or what have you? Or do you plan on spying on the American people, collecting their information, flying over their homes, collecting data, doing Lord knows what with the equipment that is within these drones? Because these drones could easily fly over people's homes, collect information off their computer, collect sensitive information, hack into certain databases and stuff like that. These drones, not necessarily these drones in particular, but there are drones out there with the equipment to do that. They could jam people's, it's really complicated stuff. And to some, it may seem far out there, but this technology already exists. So if they're testing out some type of technology like this over the American public, you have to wonder, do you plan on using this over the American public, or is this for some other reason? So in my opinion, and it might not be a popular opinion, I find more comfort in this being our enemies spying on us, as opposed to this is the U.S. government trying to figure out a new way that they could screw us over. But that's just me. You let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.